Hey y'all, it's that time again. It's Math with Mrs. Peters, the crazy cat lady of Hiram High School, and today's topic, box and whisker plot and the 5-number summary. So here's our problem. Mrs. Peters wants to compare the grades on the Unit 4 test between her first period and second period classes. And we have a set of data. Here's my first period data, and here is my second period data. And we're going to compare them. What else I want you to notice is first period has more numbers in it than second period. And a lot of our comparisons in real life is we're looking at groups of people and there might be different pieces of data or different size pieces of data. This group over here is missing some numbers, so to speak, but I still want to be able to compare and analyze, and guys, this is what we do in high school math, is we analyze what we need to know. Now we're going to start off by looking at our TI 330XS, and we're going to use this and we're going to put some information in. Now you've heard me say the word data a couple of times, so I want you to look at your calculator and I want you to notice the data button right here. We're going to press that data button. When you press that data button right here, you'll see this screen come up and we have L1, and that's list 1, list 2, list 3. We're going to input our data into list 1. As you can see, I started entering it. I put 100 in, then hit enter. I put 91 in, hit enter. And as you can see, I'm getting ready to put 86, which is over here. I'm getting ready to put 86 in. Now I've entered all my data. See, here's 93 is my last one, 93, and I'm getting ready to actually compile. That means get all my information together about my pieces of data. Now, at this point, you're going to hit the second button and you're going to hit data again, because right above data, you'll see the word stat, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking at statistics. So you're going to press second and data, and you should see this screen come up. Now we're only entering one variable statistics because it's only one set of number that we're dealing with. So we're going to enter one variable statistics, make sure that this is on 1, and now hit enter. And this is the screen you should see. It should say one variable statistics right here. Okay, we're getting our data. We entered it in L1, so we want to make sure it says L1, and our frequency is 1. We're not using a frequency table at this time. And then you're going to hit enter, and it's going to come down, it's going to highlight calc, and you're going to hit enter again. This is what you should see on your screen now. Okay, this is our one variable data, again, that gives us, and we pulled it from list 1, and we had no frequency, or our frequency was 1. Okay, we had 17 pieces of data. That refers back to how many pieces individually there were over here, and there were 17 pieces of data. This is a way of making sure that you got all your information. All right, now you're going to scroll by using your toggle buttons up and down, and you're going to scroll until you get, when you see the maximum, okay, that's the largest number of our set of data, and I wrote it down here, our Q3, which is our data here, our median data here, and you continue scrolling up until you get Q1 and you get the minimum. Now this data that we just collected right here, this is called the 5-number summary. Okay, that's this data. The minimum, the median, the maximum, and the first quartile, okay, and the third quartile. Now, the quartile actually divides the group from the minimum to the median, divides it in half, and the third quartile divides the median and the max, the distance there, into half. Now, you're to be doing the same thing with our second set of data, and of course, being Mrs. Peters, just like in the magic cooking shows where all of a sudden they take the lasagna and they put it in the oven and they magically be able to pull out a brand new spanking already cooked lasagna. Well, guess what? So can I. Except instead of lasagna, we've got our 5-number summary for the second set of data. Now here, I have my 5-number summary for my first set of data. I have my 5-number summary for my second number of data. So we can look at it and observe some interesting things. We can look at the numbers. But I want to tell you, Mrs. Peters is a very visual person. So Mrs. Peters likes to look at her data in some sort of picture format. And that's what it is when we talk about a box and whisker. A box and whisker is a picture of what's going on with our data. Now I've color-coded my data. I went ahead and said first period is going to be this lovely pinky purple color, and second period is going to be this lovely little greeny lime color. Okay, we're going to start off by looking at first period only. All right, so I've got a number line here, okay, and we're going to look at both sets of data against this number line, but we're going to just start with first period. Now I'm going to make what's called a box and whisker, and a box and whisker uses my 5-number summary and draws a picture of it for me. So with that said, I'm going to start with my minimum, which was 73, okay, my maximum, which was 100, and I draw a line between them. Okay, now I'm going to put a dot down for my first quartile, that's Q1, and that's 85. Okay, I'm going to put a dot down for my median, which was 93. We'll put a dot down for my third quartile, which is 97.5, which isn't quite 97, but isn't 98 either. Okay, now I'm going to draw the box. The box goes from my first quartile all the way down to my third quartile, and then back again, and a line at my median. All right, now I want to talk about what it means to be a box and whisker. Now, a box and whisker is taking our data back from the beginning of all those test scores, and it is cut it into quarters. That's why we call these things quartiles. We have this 25%, we have this 25%, we have this 25%, and this 25%. So that means we have just as many pieces of data in here, and that 25%, we have the same number of pieces of data in here, same number of pieces of data in there, and same number of pieces of data in there. Now, what I really want you to notice is that this data is spread out more than it is spread out over here. It's condensed over here. I have those 5 little pieces in there, and I have those 5 little dots here. So this is real important that you understand that I have the same number of pieces of data in each one of these 25%. Likewise, another concept I want you to understand is that I have groups of 50%. This right here is 50%, and I have a 50% that happens here, and I have a 50% that happens here. So I have 3 different sections that are 50%, and whether or not they are broadly spread out or condensed is based on this picture. Now, quickly, I did a box and whisker based on second period's information. Okay, here's my data. Okay, here's the median. Here's my lower quartile. Here's my upper quartile. Here's my minimum, and here's my maximum, all on the same number line that we did for first period's data. Now, let's compare first period's data here with second period's data. Okay, well, I knew that the minimum for first period was higher than the minimum for second period. I also knew the maximum for first period was higher than the maximum for second period. But let's look about this middle 50% right here. This middle 50%, we have a new piece of data or new word that I want you to know, which is the IQR. Okay, that's the inner quartile range, and that's the box part of our box and whisker. That is, how far apart is it from the lower quartile to the upper quartile? How far apart is it from the lower quartile to the upper quartile? Or how big is that spread? And remember, 50% of our data is in this spread. So I took my calculator and I took my lower quartile, my upper quartile, I subtracted them and I got the IQR, the interquartile range. This one is 12.5. Okay, now my interquartile range for my second period is 11. What this means, okay, the interquartile range says that for my first period, that 50% of my data is more spread out. There's more variation than there is in second period. The smaller the IQR, the smaller the variation. That means my 50% of that data that's in there is closer together than it is in the other set. Understood? Now, if you have any questions, what I want you to do is I want you to fill out a 3, 2, 1. Okay? Put your question in there. Include the word, I don't know, cat. You know, I am the crazy cat lady here. So I want you to include the word cat there somewhere. You have to put it in the lower left-hand corner. And with that said, I would like to tell y'all, good evening. This is Mrs. Peters, and have a good evening.